Welcome to this week's episode of Lost Without Japan, a podcast based on Japan and your Lost Without moments. This is your director of travel for TKIC Studio Productions, coming to you with positive thoughts and excitement for your next journey to Japan and his own return this summer. I'd like to thank you for giving me a bit of your time today, and I truly hope this podcast finds you in a good place or on the path to a better one, no matter how it may seem at this moment. My belief is that we can all use a beacon like this one in our lives to help guide us during these times, and my hope is that Japan, along with this show, will become that for you. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're a returning Lost Without listener, thank you again for your time and returning once more. As always, the advertising I include with my show is done for free and is to help continue to promote the friends of the show that we have interviewed in the past. I am super excited to share other off the beaten path Tokyo excursion places and things to do with you today that are on my list for myself and my son this summer, as he's interested in both the anime that we're going to be talking about today and as well wants to see some of these locations, and he's joining me for today's episode.
Yay, hello. I am his son. I'm Sam. Hello. Yeah, I love Bochi The Rock, so I'm just excited to see like a ton of places that I've seen in anime. Like, oh my god, it's
Tokyo is high on your list, son, for places to go for our trip. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm very excited, especially Shibuya.
Let's get started with our show today for Bochi The Rock themed day trip to Shimokitazawa, Tokyo, an area of Tokyo that is known for its rich music history and numerous stores with which you can purchase that guitar you've always wanted to. Because, I mean, really, if you're going to buy something and then put it away and just look at it, might as well be something from Japan that you bring with. And if you go big, come on, like any concert you go to, you can just say, hey, I got this in Japan. So let's use some of that positive mental thought and imagery as we continue our trip along Tokyo today. Let's start with our lodging. And please remember that we're leaving from where we did last time, so don't leave anything behind. I mean, the staff will keep it for you and have it waiting for your return, but let's just make sure for ease of our next location that you have your luggage, your passport, and your phone with you as we leave the Nippon Shingan Hotel. You've made it. You're continuing with your journey today. So go ahead and take a few deep breaths and come along with us, your tour group, as we journey along and discover just what Tokyo has in store for us today. For the purpose of our show, we are going to go with the end of July 2023 for rates of lodging, knowing that full well these prices may increase the closer we get to that time. Remember, you can always reach out to the show at lostwithoutjapan@gmail.com or at lostwithoutjapan on Instagram. As always, remember you can access the show's Google document with information on Japan and past shows in the description for today's show. If you've been enjoying our show, please think about supporting our completely crowdfunded show with a Patreon membership. Information about that is also in today's show notes. Your membership is going forward towards some mobile mics that I hope to use this summer for additional interviews and just record some sounds of Japan for you as well. As always, today's stamped to bring you directly to our talk on locations from Bochi The Rock and Shimokitazawa, Tokyo, can be found in the notes and get you to the talk right away. I truly feel lucky we have each other for this journey, though, and can't wait to get into today's show with you, my son, and everyone that's listening, so let's get started. Before we get going too far, though, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Nihongo Jobs, powered by Kasha of Ikigai Connections. If it's your dream to build a career around your Japanese and English language skills or cultural skills, check out ikigaiconnections.com for connection country-specific resources and inspiring senpai success stories. If you're specifically looking for a Japanese job in the US, search for one at nihongojobs.com. Today's episode is going to be the last of this series on Tokyo, but rest assured, we'll be back in the future. After this episode, we're going to be heading back out to exploring some lesser traveled areas, having to do with some pottery and things, after we kind of do an FAQ, because there's a lot going on for travel for Japan. Sam, we ended up watching Bochi The Rock together, and I know that we both enjoyed it. What would you like to share about the show?
I really like the show. As you know, we watched it in like 2 days when it came, or not when it came out, but when it finished. We watched it in like 2 days. We binged it completely. It was just like a really wholesome. I was waiting for like the zombies to show up or something, but it was just a really wholesome band show. I really liked it from the perspective of like me being such a big music fan. I thought it was really faithful just to the experience and going to concerts. It just made like the entire experience of going to a concert and performing, all of which I've experienced, just a really, yeah, it was just really cool. The characters were great. The music, oh my gosh, the music had like members from a lot of my favorite my bands. I think Trico was part of it, a band member from Trico. I want to say someone from Otoboke Beaver wasn't in it, among others, like a lot of pretty big bands, a lot of cool girl groups. So just like it kind of felt like a love letter to Japanese music, and especially Shimokitazawa. And I'm sure it's brought a lot of attention and tourism to the area. So it's just a really cool show. I one of my favorites of last year for sure.
No doubt about it. And I said, we go to a lot of concerts together. In fact, we have one tomorrow as well. We're going to see the Radwimps. And, you know, we're both excited about that. From Your Name, Weathering with You, and just the most recent one that they've come out that we saw. We're looking forward to catching it all. So music is huge for both of us. And I could not agree more. And I'm excited to kind of share. I did the research on different locations and things, that I've been sharing it with my son periodically, but I'm kind of excited to share some of these things with you today, son.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
We'll get going. We'll get going. So today's show will bring you into an area that's really not usually one that's focused upon if somebody's going to Tokyo, but I really feel like it could be something that's going to become the highlight of your trip. And you might even find a band that you discover now that ends up making it big. And you could just be like, hey, I saw them then in a really small venue. And for those of you beginning your journey with me today, we'll do so at Meiji Jingo Harajuku Station via the Chiyoda Line Express, the Mukugaku Yun, for 2 stops where the train joins the Odakyu Line local, Hansugi, where we'll get off at the Setagaya Daite Station and head out to the front of the station to where we can store our luggage, or just go ahead and drop it off at our lodging because it is super close. And that's really what I'd recommend for today if you're going to be staying where I recommend. But before we get going on our trip, I wanted to take a moment to give you a travel PSA. We're going to go into this a little bit more in depth with that Japan FAQ episode that'll be coming in too. And as I'm researching various possible places though for a stay to look, and when I looked to book this about 3 months out, it was very obvious that tourism is picking up, and the ability to book at various locations, it was filled or no room available, or like 1 or 2. So son, I'm glad that your dad is, as like anal as he is, and we booked out as far as we could, because there's so many less choices right now. Like there, not to say let's say you can't find something, but it is so much less. So I'd really look to book out as far as you can, especially if you're not traveling till like September, October, November of next year. Just start looking as far out as you can in advance. And also, friend of the show and fellow listener Peter, from our Snow Time Fun episode on Japan and the recent Snow Country for Old Men podcast that he's going to be rebranding in the future, wants to pass along some information about hotels in Japan that say they won't charge for children under a certain age. My children are no longer children. I have my son, Sam, who's with us today, who's 21. I have my daughter who's in high school. So it's been a while since I've traveled with the littles. And what he says that hotels mean when they won't charge is that they expect for you to actually have your children be sharing the bed with the parents. So if you book a room and you have kids and you say you have kids coming with, there still may only be one bed. So you could have an 11-year-old that has to hop in with mom and dad, or, stepmom, stepdad, whatever it is, like you're all together in one spot. And in Japan, that's kind of expected, and that's people are used to it. But if you're traveling from abroad, it may not be anything that you're familiar with or expecting or looking to do. So just before you book, you should really make sure that there are the number of beds that you want in your room, just so that you can all have a comfortable time. Thank you, Peter. Not only do you have your own podcast, but you keep up with the show. We communicate back and forth, and I can't wait to share that frosty beverage with you in the future. Thanks for being a member of our show and just, sharing with everybody. Now, with that out of the way, my lodging choice for this day is Yun Betai, the Tokyo Data location, where it has an onsen. And it's only about a 3-minute walk from the Setagaya Daita station. And if you click on the link, son, you can kind of see some of the things that you might see on it. And depending on the time we leave, you can end up missing on the Odakyu line. And if you do, you're going to be adding like anywhere from 7 to 14 minutes in travel from your stop, like from that train station where we get out. And for this location, the booking through the site would be cheaper. But that being said, I was unable to book directly through the site, no matter how far out I went. So if you can speak Japanese, you can call and talk to them directly and save yourself some money. One thing that you could try to do is just say, Ego o hansuru hito wa imasuka, which is loosely English speaker, please, and just hope for the best. That being said, you can book through travel websites like Travelocity and bookings.com. And there were some dates available, but some of those, like I said, when I was looking to book, there was really only 1 or 2 rooms available at most, and who knows what that is now. That being said, this location is worth your efforts, as the location is a place that'll make you feel a million miles away from the hustle and bustle of Tokyo. And if you live in Japan, could just provide a day trip getaway where, Sam, you can actually book the room and the onsen to kind of have like just for the day, but not end up spending the night. So just, kind of get away for a little bit. And I always look to do something, it could end up giving you a trip, inside Tokyo. If you live there, you're not able to get outside, but it still make you feel kind of a little bit further away than you might be otherwise. Anything that you like as you're looking through for like pictures and things like that for it, son?
Oh yeah, for sure. And looking through, like, this looks incredible. I'm so excited for onsens. I've heard so many good things. I know I watch a lot of Chris and Connor videos, and Chris said on numerous occasions that onsens are his favorite part of Japan. So I'm just excited to experience that for the first time. It's going to be a little strange, I think, bathing with a lot of men, but I'm all for new experiences, and I'm sure it'll be a little weird at first, but just a different experience.
Yeah, it is. And it's all the way on the other side of the world. So it makes it okay, makes it okay.
I'm not going to see anyone I know, so
that's right. It's when I karaoke there, or karaoke. It's like, I can sing there. No one's going to see me again. It's totally cool. It's like, but yeah, this location is definitely great. And usually, Sam, like what I recommend in our shows after kind of getting into that lodging is just trying to get something to eat before you begin exploring too much. So we're going to look at some options for breakfast. And what I found was the gasuto, written in katakana. If you are a katakana fan, as I am, you can pick that out from the street side. And that's where we're going to be dining today. It's a family dining option, which will excite those of you that enjoy seeing cat robots bring you your food. And being able to order, it's like, let's go, cat robots. It's like, or being able to order.
Those.
No, I know. It's gonna be great. And being able to order from touch screens and pay for them as well, which removes any worry about that awkward interaction that you might have. And it's right near Setagaya Daita Station in the Shimokita shopping district, which is where we arrived earlier. And it's a plus because this location is rather busy. And like I said, it's a 10-minute walk from our lodging if you don't do trains. And it's a very direct route to do so. If you utilize a train, it'll bring the trip down to 6 minutes with 5 minutes of walking and, all these different things that you could end up doing through here. This location is located on the second floor of a red brick building and has a large yellow sign that says Taro. So it is very easy to find, like Taro. And even if you haven't had your caffeine to start your day yet, this is where you can get it. And another plus for this location is, Sam, it's open for 23 hours from 6 a.m. to 5 a.m. English menu that you can even look at ahead of time online. So it's,
cool.
It'll be plus. Reviews mention this location that is favored by students after school, as prices are less after breakfast. The number of seats and tables allow for a lot more space than is normal in Japan. There's Wi-Fi, there's outlets to charge your phones, and from what I hear from numerous reviews is no one's being rushed out by staff, which means if you're with a group, you can relax and enjoy your time. And that being said, this can really add to how crowded though it can get. So it may be best to try to hit it on an off time when your schedule allows. There is a 10% late night charge though on orders beginning at 10 p.m. But on the plus side, from 10:30 a.m. till 6 p.m., there's adult beverage happy hour where you can get a discount on beer, highballs, and etc. Because, come on, Sam, nothing goes better than pancakes and beer at 10:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah. That's how I like to wake up every morning.
That's right. If your your store is set to Japan like mine, you can even download the app for this location and you can get even further discounts and coupons. You have a variety of breakfast options starting from open till 10:30 with last orders needing to be in before 10 a.m. Breakfast options are Western style ranging from 550 yen to 950 yen. Sam, breakfast for less than $7, for the most expensive thing. And son, you can get eggs, you can get toast, you can get pancakes, hamburgers. You can also even get a pizza, son, for breakfast. It has mayo and corn on it. Come on. I know it's screaming your name.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
there's even a Western style breakfast or Japanese style breakfast options. And this one might actually excite you. There's a fish porridge, grilled salmon, pork soup, and even natto that if you'd like, ranging from 800 to 950 yen. There are some children options as well, ranging from 100 yen to 800 yen, with similar Japanese styles being a lot of them, including kids' pancakes, or just a plate full of French fries with mayo and mustard on the side. Lunch and dinner options are also online, with lunch running from 10:30 to 5, and with last orders again needed prior to 5 p.m., and an add-on coffee, soda, or juice drink bar for only 200 yen more. There are a variety of pasta dishes, pizza, hot pots, udon, donburi, cheese-filled ground chicken patties, and so much more you can choose from. But since the focus is breakfast, and I'd rather not ramble on too much more about pricing specifics when you can look at them through our show notes, I'm going to let you explore those at your own leisure. And son, after our stomachs are full, it's time to head out and kind of get into what we're most excited about, and that's the area around Shimokitazawa Station, and is shown through the point where the characters in the show end up meeting there again and again and again. And since that's kind of the show's premier station itself, with a lot of their exploration starting off from there, why not? And there's tons of shopping around there. There's tons of other eating options. So just going to that station itself, you're already a part of the show. And from that station, the cool part, Sam, is there's only a 2-minute walk to Shelter, which is the live music venue that is called Starry in the show. And this venue is an underground space that is the main venue where the group performs during the show. And the animated version of this location took heavy inspiration from Shelter and even had very similar neon signs placed at the opening. This location has been open since 1991, so even before you were born, son, and has provided bands and groups that are just starting out on the verge of getting to be more known, a place to just practice or regularly play so they can get better themselves and be enjoyed. But one request for those of you that are not a fan of the show is if you're coming along and you're like, hey, this just looks like a cool area to take a picture, please, go ahead and step inside, grab a drink, or go ahead and listen to some music for a while, because the venue has posted on their social media saying, hey, we love the fact that all of you are coming, but we want you to see the acts and performances that are inside, because what's happening is there's so many people going to take pictures outside that's actually blocking people from getting into the venue or leaving the venue, which is kind of impacting the number of people that they can have, enjoying the performance. So that's just something to be aware of. And one thing is they don't sell tickets online, but you can buy them by phone or in person. But again, it kind of depends on your Japanese level. We might have to just look, son, when we arrive in Tokyo on that first day, just kind of shooting over there and looking for later on the week when those performances are. Go in, grab a ticket for you and I, and enjoy a show there, and just have it be ready to go and head off from there. Or you can try to do the trick talked about earlier, where you just hop on the phone and ask if someone speaks English and hope for the best. But otherwise, you arrive in Tokyo and you go from there. From there, we're going to be heading northeast for a minute walk for our next location, a shop under the Shimokitazawa Honda Theater called Village Vanguard Shimokitazawa Store. And whether you are a seasoned Shimokitazawa or a rookie trying to make their way through the neighborhood, this location is a great meeting spot if you're meeting up with friends or on a date. And if you click on this, son, there's some great pictures like in that Google Map area. And it is also in the area where shrine that we visited and talked about in our previous episode. There are several scenes that take place from Bochi The Rock in this chain location, and you might be able to find even items from the show being sold there as well. The store is kind of like a catch-all, son, so it's kind of like a Don Quixote, but it has gacha toys, capsule toys, and it's a whole bunch of things. I saw some like Totoro plushes and books, CDs, memorabilia, and things like that. And there's even, like if you're scrolling through, a pretty large size burger and fries, which isn't cheap, but for around like 2,000 yen per burger set. There's a lot that's there. And that is another thing that was posted in the show. Anything that jumps out at you, son, from those Google images that you're looking through?
Yeah, this looks awesome. Definitely like a little bit of everything store. I see the stationery, I see the Totoro music. Like, heck yeah. Definitely very reminiscent of a Don Quixote.
Yeah. This looks like something fun. Like, just something that's there. And from there, we're going to head to Ochimaizu Station. And it's a trip that can range from like anywhere from 32 to 50 minutes. So really check, the route before you go to hop on a train. And it's going to take us back to the Shimokitazawa Station, where we're going to take the Odakyu line, local Shinjuku, to actually Shinjuku Station, where we're going to be getting off the train and head to the Chuo line, where we'll board the Rapid Tokyo to Ochanmanzayu Station, where we'll be exiting and heading out for some truly wonderful musical instrument shopping. Son, you are going to absolutely love this area. I stumbled across it on a previous trip, and it's one of those things like I keep on finding, and it's just so cool. There are so many guitar shops, so many musical instrument shops. You can buy headphones. There's just so much, and it's just a whole area, store after store after store. And one shop that really stood out to me is the Ikibe musical instrument store, Rivol or Akihabara. This is a great location, this store, because some of the stores that are in that area have reviews where they're not overwhelmingly positive. And there are a few that mention that some of the locations weren't altogether honest about the instruments and things that were being sold. I'd recommend just taking a quick look before you purchase anything. This one looked very good, and you can kind of look through, but before you go to make a big purchase, you might want to just scroll through those reviews and see kind of what's going on. And if you see other people that are like, hey, not all up front, trying to take advantage, maybe just move down the street a little bit and grab something else at another location, unless you're just super knowledgeable about it and you know what you're getting yourself into. But what a place to go to, son, and grab a big purchase to bring home with you. Like, what do you think about the, shop? Is that going to be something that you're going to want to try to check out when we're there?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm looking at this and geeking out really hard. Looks a lot like the store they went to in the anime. It's super cool. I could spend years here if I wanted to.
I agree, son. I agree. And from there, we're going to head to an iconic spot from the show that offers a great photo opportunity. And if you're driving there, it's going to be super easy to get through because it's actually a place to park as well. We're going to walk to Akihabara Station and take the Chuo Sobu line, local Mikata, to Shinjuku Station and take the Odakyu line local, Hanatsugi, to the Shimokitazawa Station, where we'll walk about 5 minutes to Times Car Rental, which is near the graffiti location on the side of a building that was used to help them make the cover of that album, where they were in the anime and they all hopped up together and, did their posing and things to come up with that cover. Totally cool. It is there, but it's kind of in that area, and that's like the best to get you to it. So once you have your Instagram post made, we're going to, son, take a quick break and do a quick adult beverage. Before heading out to explore more of it, we're going to hit Spring Valley Brewery, Tokyo, before we end up going to dinner for our spot for the show for tonight. And the cool thing is there is that the Shimokitazawa Station trip to Shinjuku and then the Takadan Ban Station to get to this location will take you around 30 minutes. The brewery offers a variety of house beers with a regular sized beer for 790 yen, a pint for 1150 yen, or a half-size beer if you're looking to sample some things for as low as 490 yen each. The beer list, though, changes on a regular basis, so if you look too far ahead, you may not see what you're looking for when you go there. But they do have food options ranging from 1,000 to 1,900 yen and all of that is before adding a beverage. Other times a day, you can also even get a pizza, son, for 1,490 yen, and they all look like they'd be a great snack or meal on its own. You can go all out for snake, for not snake. You can go all out for, you could probably, it's like, yeah, you could go all out for steak for 2,900 to 4,900 yen, smoked salmon for 2,500 yen, and a whole lot more. Anything that is popping out to you in the pictures that are there, son?
This place looks fancy. I'm looking at the dishes. I'm like, dang. Yeah, this looks cool. This will be a really cool place to visit. And yeah, I was looking at like the platters there. I'm like, what?
Bring our polos, son. Polos.
Oh, yeah.
But after our beverage, we're going to return back towards the lodging for the night and find our dinner option, which is a 14-minute walk from lodging and provides a vegan dining option at Placina, which looks to be open from 1 to 4 p.m., then be closed, and 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day. If you're not looking to walk, I'd recommend a taxi, as the train only reduces our trip by 2 to 3 minutes, so it's not really worth the train unless it's raining or you just really are excited about the trains in the area. The menu changes constantly, though, according to the season and what they have offered. So if you live near, you can see an ever-changing menu in front of you and know that no matter when you end up going, you're going to have a great experience there. For those of you that would like to just pick up your meal and bring it back to your home or lodging, it's an option as well. I'd recommend reaching out through the site to book, though, because there's not a lot of seats there, son. And it looks like you can email those reservations ahead of time as well, but there's only 12 seats in the restaurant. So if you're like, they're like, you can book a private dinner. And if you book the private dinner, you're pretty much booking the place itself. So there's a lot. You can get beer, shochu, sake, juice, tea, and even a homemade ginger ale that like moved up to the top of my list, son. I like ginger ale. It's not the top of my list, but homemade ginger ale? Come on. How can you not want to do that? And then one thing to take into account, though, the menus are only in Japanese, which would have you needing to use a translation app to know what you're ordering. And there's no mention of any staff being able to speak English, but just scan, translate, smile, be polite, and point, my friends. So anything that jumped off your mind when you were looking at the location for on Google Sun?
looks really cool. Yeah, I love the vibes in there. All the dishes look really unique and interesting. I'm very excited to check it out.
Well, son, Studio Ghibli fans, as we are, you can rejoice, son. I've saved one of the best things for last year.
Oh, snap.
This place, son, like moved way up my list of places to go. We're talking about getting dessert and coffee at Shiro Hige's Cream Puff Factory that's open from 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Oh, yes, son. Currently every day except for Tuesday when they're closed, you can get custard, strawberry, chocolate, matcha filled fillings inside these different cream puffs. Son, there are Totoro themed cakes for around 600 yen each. There are cookies that are currently Totoro themed, ranging from 550 yen to 1500 yen, depending on how many you buy and size. And a fruit cake with a cute character on them, which allows for a lot of choice for your sweet tooth. Please look ahead before visiting on the store site, as flavors can end up changing. What stood out to you the most?
This looks so cool. Oh my gosh. There's so much Totoro. It looks straight out of a Ghibli movie, the entire place. The little Totoro cutout. There's so many like photo opportunities and oh my gosh, it looks so cool.
I know I stumbled across this too, like trying to find a dessert option, and I'm like, it's literally right by everything else that we're doing, and I'm like, holy cow, how is this not like more talked about?
They're so cute. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't want to eat it.
I know, it's like take it, refrigerate it, bring it home.
Yeah, it's gonna be all moldy. Like, don't touch it.
Don't touch it. It's still good. In the end, this is truly just a great place to get lost. The whole area is just walking around. There are so many shops, so many music shops. There's so many music venues. We just talked about one. Go ahead, get lost, find your own lost without Japan moment, and come up with your own favorite story to tell about your traveling to Japan. And one of those things that you keep on bringing up again and again, no matter how many other visits you do, because that's what this show is all about. And this location will provide that for you. And after our long day, it is time for us to go ahead and head back to our lodging so that we can end up meeting our group for our next tour in the AM. But before we do so, there are some honorable mentions for Tokyo that are in this area that we can use for our trip. And if you're looking to stay in the area that we're looking for, you are really limited, Sam. There's like so few places that are open and there's so few lodging options in that area to begin with. So a lot of the lodging options are going to put you about 30 minutes out if you want to get into this area by train. So my additional choice for lodging is the B Sanganya, a 3-star option in Setagaya City, which is a 24-minute walk or 15-minute train ride. And if you had the cream puffs, let's get that walk going, son, to get ourselves back.
Oh, yeah. We'll need it after that.
Pricing, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. And pricing, though, for is about like $160. But further out in July, it drops to around $80 to $110. But like right now being that $160. And that really varies through the different booking sites. If you book directly through the site, it would end up being pretty much the same at around $107 with conversion rates. And it's a standard single double bedroom with no breakfast add-ons. If you want breakfast, it's 1,000 yen per person. But if you want it, it's cool. But there's so many options to eat around there. I'd rather you just kind of explore the area. But if you've done a lot the night before and you're like, I just don't want to worry about it, Mike, I want to go enjoy the rest of my day, go do that. You do you. So one thing to take into account as well is that there are smoking and non-smoking rooms. Son, not like, like a lot of locations here. So if you're booking a place and you don't want smoking, you're not okay with smoking, you don't want that, you need to make sure that that is the case. And if you are someone who's like, hurrah, there is smoking and smoking rooms, then you can do that as well. So just make sure you're getting the one that you want. But if you're traveling with your family, you may end up needing 2 rooms, as the beds that are in this location are not large in any way, shape, or form. Our unique addition for the day could easily have gone to finding ways to our last episode on finding ways to relax in Japan. And we'll do so by bringing you out to the island of Enoshima, which was in the show Son Bochi The Rock, where they went on summer vacation. And by train, it's only an hour and a half trip from Tokyo. So it's totally doable. And you could end up even drive, and it's pretty much the same time. This island will truly immerse you in nature and also offers caves to explore. And in the show, they went to Enoshima Shrine. There's lots of beachfront to enjoy. And while visiting Enoshima, I would recommend purchasing the Eno Pass, which is a ticket that will include admission to the island's main attraction, which consists of a garden, observation tower, the caves we mentioned before, and the use of an escalator, so you don't have to walk up the bajillion steps. And everyone says that the walk up is really, really intensive. So you may want that escalator. And one negative, though, about this location is not wheelchair accessible. That being said, this location will provide some amazing views and is open from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I'm assuming, like anything else in Japan, they'll start closing that last group at 30 to 45 minutes before is like the last group that'll be able to get up to it. And with that, we're going to pause in our talk for our visit for these. And we're going to talk about our dinner options as well, because I really feel like this area could be one that we could have an episode, Enoshima Shrine, just on its own. So we'll talk about that more later. Son, one thing in Japan, I've had my favorite Indian food. I've had my favorite Italian food. I've had so many of my favorites in Japan. And it's like, I stumbled across this when it's on the outskirts of Tokyo, and it's Burmese. It's Ruby Myanmar, a Burmese restaurant located on the first floor of a dark tile building with a sign that says Ruby above it, a large window, and it's about 30 to 40 minutes by train from our lodging for today's trip. You may ask why we're going so far out, but one of my favorite things to do is just visit places I normally wouldn't be able to, especially around me. And those of you that are long-term listeners know that I love any and all types of curry, and I have not tried theirs. So that like moves it up my list. One plus is that they're open every day from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and then 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. And the store menu is in Japanese and Burmese, but printed nicely, so it should be pretty easy to scan with your translation app. And I was even kind of doing so myself. One thing to note is that your order could be pretty hot in terms of spiciness, depending on what you're used to with Southeast Asian food. If you're traveling with your family, I'd suggest tasting it before handing off to your, kids, younger kids and things to eat. But everyone mentions the staff being super friendly, not rushing you out. And there's a lunch buffet that could come with water, coffee, or tea for around 1,300 yen each, where there's like 15 different dishes for you to explore, including meat, vegetables, and rice. And one thing that is unique is the restaurant is often filled with Myanmar customers. So you could end up hearing Burmese, Japanese, and just like so many languages going on. And for those of you 20 years and older, you could even get the chance, son, to try a Burmese beer if you're so inclined.
Heck yeah.
For those of you with, it's like for those of you with Japan, one thing to note is that your sizes, like if you're in Japan, son, are like what they're supposed to be, I would almost say, like as far as serving size go. Mm-hmm. But if you've been living in Japan for a while and you go to this restaurant, you might be caught off guard because the sizes for the meals and plates are larger than what you'd normally expect in Japan. And reviews mention their desserts are unique and very refreshing after a meal. But there's no website for this location, but you can, show hack of the day, click order food button on Google Maps profile and click the link for Uber Eats. And it will pull up some pictures of things that you have that you can look at ahead of time and use your Google translation at that. The site for Uber Eats, though, is the Japan site, and it shows a price range of 980 yen to 1,100 yen for some of the dishes and up to 1,300 for your main dishes, including a fish noodle soup, various noodle dishes as well, and appetizers that have fried tofu and others ranging for around 720 yen. With all the recent changes for traveling to Japan, like I said, I'm going to do an FAQ next time into the month from now after our next interview because of the increase of the JRL pass. It's just one thing that we kind of talk about. And I've covered so many different things. For those of you that are newer to the show, this might be our 50th episode, son. I don't know, but we're close. There's been way, I don't expect everyone that's listening right now to have heard them all. So I'd like to try to pull some of them together and just have that be something that we can cover as well. So anything else you'd like to share, son, like in the area or anything that you're excited about?
Yeah, I'm just really excited just in general, but especially this area. It seems like there's a lot of stuff to see and do. And I feel like if I just walk around, I'm going to see stuff that I want to check out. So I'm just excited to explore and get lost and just see new sights and like that Burmese place. Like, what? That's sick. Like, I'm just so excited to like try stuff and new experiences. I'm just super pumped.
And it's like with the conversion rate going in our favor right now, even better. And right after we do that FAQ site, son, I'm going to be sharing like a pottery town with everybody, which is going to get us outside that Tokyo. But I'm totally excited to share that as well. Thank you so much for setting aside time for Dad. I appreciate it. And with housekeeping for today, please give a follow, a like, and a comment on your favorite streaming service. And for updates on the show, feel free to give a follow at Instagram on Lost Without Japan. And if you've enjoyed today's show, feel free to join and support our show's Patreon. I said once again, greatly, greatly appreciated. For those of you that can't, just share with friends and family. Share on your social media. It is truly appreciated. And one more share from past interview is Doc Kane with Read More Japanese, push your career further, and lower the ceiling on that last 10% of your streaming for Maple Lopo Schoolhouse. College caliber training designed specifically for readers and serious learners of Japanese. Enroll at mapleloposchoolhouse.com. And for our outro, we're going to call it a night before we end up, going on and exploring even more. But thank you again, Sam, for joining me today. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on the show. I love it whenever I can join.
Thank you, son. On behalf of all the Lost Without Japan members and crew, we want to say thank you for joining us today on this trip. And we really do look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks for our next episode. To everyone out there, Oginki Day, stay well, my friends. Song of the show is going to be the Kesaku Band and their song from Bochi The Rock, Seshun Complex. Thank you all, everyone. And with that, enjoy the music.